Welcome to Finding Holiness, where we delve into timeless Torah wisdom, revealing the sacred in everyday moments. Join us on a journey to elevate your spirituality and discover holiness in every aspect of life. I'm your host, Rabbi David Kadosh, and together, let's embark on a path of spiritual exploration. I hope you enjoy this next episode. Okay. Continuing with Perek Tetvav in Masechet Yevamot, Mishna Hey. The discussion that we've been dealing with has been a woman who comes back from out of town and claims that her husband has died. Do we believe her? And in what circumstances does she get ketubah? So on and so forth. Similar situations, just with slight variants. Mishnah Hey says, Achat omeret met, ve'achat omeret lo met. So two co-wives came from overseas. One of them said her husband died, and one of them said, no, he didn't die. Zu she'omeret met, tinaseh v'titol ketubata. The wife that said that he died, she can remarry, collect her ketubah. She's believed to say that her husband died. The co-wife is not able to contradict her. V'zu she'omeret lo met, the one who says that the husband didn't die, lo tinaseh v'lo titol ketubata. She cannot remarry, and she cannot collect her ketubah because she claims that her husband is still alive. Achat omeret met ve'achat omeret neherag. If one co-wife said that he died natural death, and the other one says that he was killed, Rabbi Meir says, since they are contradicting each other, neither of them can remarry. And, Rabbi Meir holds that a co-wife is believed to contradict her co-wife, and therefore these women contradict each other. One of them must be lying. Neither of them can marry. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon omrim. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon say, "Hoil vezu vezu modot she'eno kayam minaseu." Since they each admit that he is no longer alive, so what if they contradict each other? The guy is not alive. They all agree. So each woman can remarry according to Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. Ed omer met ve'ed omer lo met. If one witness says a man died, and before the court actually rules that the woman, the wife, can remarry, another witness comes into the court and says, lo met, he didn't die. Isha omeret met ve'isha omeret lo met. Or, similar case, a woman comes and says that he died, and again, before the court rules that she can remarry, another woman says he did not die. Harezu lo tinaseh. In this situation, the wife cannot marry. When we said before that one person cannot contradict another one, meaning that she's allowed to remarry, is only after the Bet Din has made the ruling. But this Mishnah teaches me that before the Bet Din has made the ruling, therefore the second witness is believed to contradict the first one, and therefore the wife cannot remarry. Mishnah Vav. Ha'isha she'alcha hi ubala lemdinat hayam. A woman went with her husband to Las Vegas. Uba ve'amra met bali. She came back and she said, my husband died. Tinaseh v'titol ketubata. She can remarry and collect her ketubah. A woman is believed to say that her husband has died. V'tzarata asura. And her co-wife is forbidden to remarry based on this testimony. Haita bat Yisrael lekohen. If the co-wife who did not testify was the daughter of a Yisrael who married to a Kohen, tochal betruma, she can continue eating teruma. She's still, she is technically still, she believes that the guy is alive, so she can eat teruma. Divrei Rabbi Tarfon. This is the words of Rabbi Tarfon. Rabbi Akiva Omer, en zo derech motziata midei avera. This is not the way to free her from possibly sinning. Ad sheteha asura leinaseh asura mechol betruma. Rather, the only way she can be assured that this woman won't further sin is if she's forbidden to remarry and forbidden to eat teruma. So she cannot remarry because her husband might be alive. She can't eat teruma because her husband might be dead. Amra met bali ve'achar kach met chami. If a woman went overseas with her husband and her father-in-law, in this case, and she returned and said, my husband died and then my father-in-law died. Tinaseh v'titol ketubata, she can remarry and collect her ketubah because she's believed to say that her husband died. V'hamota asura. However, her mother-in-law is forbidden to marry and collect her ketubah because we learned that a mother-in-law cannot remarry based on the daughter-in-law's testimony. Okay, that's not good because there's always strife between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law. So just because the daughter-in-law said that her father-in-law died, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. Haita bat Yisrael lekohen. Therefore, if the mother-in-law was a daughter of a Yisrael who married a Kohen, tochal bat teruma, she can still eat teruma. We don't assume that the father-in-law is dead. Divrei Rabbi Tarfon. This is Rabbi Tarfon. Rabbi Akiva says similarly, Enzo derech motziata midei avera. This is not the way to free her from the possibility of sin. Rather, the only way we can assure that she's not going to sin, only if she's forbidden to remarry and also forbidden to eat teruma. There's still a doubt whether or not the husband is alive or not. And therefore, we have to, she cannot eat teruma because the husband might not be dead. Kidesh achat mechamesh nashim ve'eno yodea ezo kidesh. If someone performed kiddushin, betroth, that's the erusin, the engagement, but he did it with cohabitation, with one of 5 women. But he doesn't know which one he did it with. Okay, there's not sure. Kol achat omeret oti kidesh. Every woman says, it was with me. They had a fun night, and this is what they come back the next morning saying, with me. Noten get lekol achat ve'achat. He has to give a get to each one of these ladies before she can marry another man. Okay, that's what the Mishnah says. Umaniach ketubah benehen umisalek. Then, when it comes to the ketubah, he places the money of one ketubah in front of all 5 of them, and therefore he's done. He's umisalek. He removes himself from the obligation of paying ketubah. Here's my ketubah for all 5 of you. One ketubah. You deal among yourself. Divrei Rabbi Tarfon. This is the words of Rabbi Tarfon. Rabbi Akiva Omer, Enzo derech motzioto midei avera. This is not the way to free him from the possibility of sin. Which sin is here? The sin of geneva, of theft. He will transgress if he doesn't pay the ketubah that he owes. Right? He's putting here 200 for the ketubah over 5 ladies, but if it's really that one, you need 200 to that lady, and she's only getting 40 divided by 5. So it's not good. So therefore, ad sheiten get to ketubah lekol achat ve'achat. Rabbi Akiva says, no, you have to give 200 zuz to every single one of the ladies. He owes a ketubah because he performed kiddushin through cohabitation. That's rabbinically prohibited, and therefore he must pay the ketubah. Gazal echad mechamishav en yodea me'eze gazal. Similar case, although not connected to marriage. Someone stole from one of 5 people. Well, the problem is he doesn't know who he stole from. I know it was one of you, but I just don't remember. I took something from a chair, and I know you guys were there, but I'm not sure. Kol echad omer oti gazal. Everybody said, no, you stole from me. This is you took my fancy pen. Okay, it belonged to me, so therefore you owe me the money. Maniach gezela benehem umistalek. So what is Divrei Rabbi Tarfon? Rabbi Tarfon, like the previous Mishnah said, you take one pen, you put it back over there in the middle, and say, go figure it out yourselves. Okay, I only stole one pen. Here's the pen. You guys deal with it. Amar Rabbi Akiva Omer, Enzo mederech motziato midei avera. This is not the way to free him from sin, because if this guy ends up with the pen, but you really stole from that guy, then what are you going to do? So therefore, ad sheshalem gezela lekol echad ve'echad. He has to repay the value of the pen to each and every person. Obviously, one guy will get the pen, and 4 others will get whatever the pen costs to each person, because he took the object unlawfully. Mishnah Het. Haisha she'alcha hi ubala limdinat hayam. A woman went with her husband overseas. Uvna imahem. And her only child was with them. Family trip. Unfortunately, it didn't end well. Uba ve'amra, she comes back, and she says, Met bali ve'achar kach met beni. First my husband died, and then my son died. So now, if the husband died first, that means he didn't die childless, and she's exempt from yibum. Right? Because her son was still alive. So ne'emenet, she's believed, and therefore she doesn't have to perform yibum or halitza, because she had a child when she went overseas. Good. Met beni ve'achar kach met bali. But if she said, my child died, and then my husband died, which means that her husband died childless, and that now she's bound to his brother for Yibum, although she is believed that the husband died, and in a minute, she's not believed that she is subject to Yibum. She was presumed to be exempt from Yibum, and therefore she's not believed to testify that that status has changed, so she remains exempt from Yibum. But nevertheless, we're so concerned on the fact that she said this statement, so choletze v'lo mityabemet. The Mishnah says she has to perform halitza, but no Yibum. Let's do one more Mishnah. Nitan li ben bimdinat hayam. So a couple went overseas. Actually, let's finish the parak. Nitan li ben bimdinat hayam. They went overseas, husband and wife, and then she comes back and says, guess what? I have a child. Right? It was a long trip, and she comes back with a child. Ve'amra, but then she said, met beni, ve'achar kach met bali. Unfortunately, child died, and then my husband died, which means that her husband died childless and has to perform Yibum ne'emenet. In this situation, she is believed because when she went overseas, she was childless, so her status didn't change, so she performs Yibum. Met bali ve'achar kach met beni. But if she said, my husband died first and then my child died, which means that she would be exempt from Yibum, although she's believed to say that her husband is dead, and she's not believed to say that she's exempt from Yibum because she's testifying that her status has changed, and with that she's not believed to say. Nevertheless, like the previous Mishnah, we are concerned from what she said in her words. She has to perform halitza and not Yibum. Last Mishnah of the parak. Nitan li yavam bimdinat hayam. If a man with no children or brothers went overseas with his wife, and the wife comes back and says, Nitan li yavam bimdinat hayam. I was given a yavam when I was overseas, meaning my mother-in-law had a son. The yavam was my mother-in-law had another son. He's a yavam. Amra, and she said, met bali ve'achar kach met yavami. However, my husband died, and then the yavam died, which means she has no yavam and exempt from yibum. Yevami, or she said, my yavam died, she's the husband's brother, ve'achar kach bali, and then my husband died, also means that she has no yavam exempt from yibum. Ne'emena, she's believed and she can marry anybody. Halchachi ubala v'imam limdinat hayam. If a woman and her husband and her brother-in-law, the yavam, went overseas, and she comes back and says, Amra met bali ve'achar kach met yavami. She says, my husband died and then my yavam died, which means that she's exempt from yibum. Yevami ve'achar kach bali, or she said, my yavam died and my husband died, which also means she's exempt from yibum. Ne'ena ne'emetet. In this situation, she's not believed to say that the yavam died. She'en ha'isha ne'emenet lomar met yevami shetinaseh. Because if a woman is known to have a yavam when she leaves and goes out of town, she's not believed to say my yavam died, so that she can marry without yibum or halitza. So in this situation, she's kind of stuck. She might be an aguna in this situation. Often a woman, Mishnah writes, Chachamim write, often a woman hates the yavam, hates the brother-in-law, and she could be suspected of lying about his death, just to avoid becoming bound to him for yibum. And finally, the parak ends with other people, listing other people who are not believed to testify about someone's death. Velo meta achoti shetikanes lebeto. A woman is also not believed to say, my sister died, in order that she can marry her sister's husband, her brother-in-law. A woman is not believed to say that. Ve'en ha'ish ne'eman lomar met achi shebamem mishto. A man is not believed to say, my brother died, so that he can perform yibum on the brother's wife. Again, it could be that he just simply has an affection towards her and just lied in order to be with her. And lastly, velo meta ishti sheisa achota. A man is not believed to say, my wife died, in order that he can marry her sister. We know that once a man is allowed to marry his wife's sister once his wife passes away, but he cannot do that. He's not believed to say that. You need proper witnesses for the same reason. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll continue next week.